Of course, I will focus more on binary in those games. It picked the book The Good Forest in the back. While the rest of its resources is clearly exposed. I didn't test this new version, but I guess binary stays a defensive AI, so that can be a problem. Those gold and stone in the front, even the berries. But in the very early game, the most important is wood, of course. Without wood, you can't develop your early economy. We've got a villager which is dancing with the music. Well, the mining camp is built in the very early game. And already a second meal, a bit closer from the deer compared to the first one. Okay, I was wondering if the farms were built manually with Duke, but it looks to be not the case. Anyway, we've got the villagers back on the deer, which already justifies the second meal. That's a good point. Meleon did already find its opponent. So 2 more villagers for blue. It explains why it's a bit slower than its opponent in researching feudal age. Blue will need to be prepared to face men-at-arms, which should come pretty soon now. Okay, unfortunately we've got the support of 1 skirmishers, but already 3 villagers dead for binary at this point, a 4th one. And binary is gonna be the first in Castle Age. The main unit looks to be range units, of course. At this point we've got 2 archers, 1 skirmisher and 1 scout. Well, as I said, it's a real problem to have those gold and stone in the front. Blue will need some army right now to defend, because building a castle in the front won't work this game. And the harassment is actually non-stop from Meleon, which is sending units again and again. Well, in the previous set, Meleon didn't show much with this strategy as Goss, but in this game we definitely can see how powerful it can be. And the TC will fall with pure infantry. That was a fast game. 30 minutes, and Meleon did win the first fight. Okay. So let's go for the 4v4. At this point, I would say that Ulysses is in a good position. I think that the 4v4 can bring something good for Binary. It smells the 1-1 score after the second game. Okay, so let's focus first on the blue player, which is Japanese. It is flank, yes, it is flank. This time gold is gonna be in the back, same for Mil. The main forest is in the front, but we've got edge forest in the back. Okay, interesting point, we've got the both of the Meso civilization as pockets, Aztec plus Mayan. No idea what's gonna be the strategy. I would say that it probably goes for eagles in castle, but not sure. Okay, so the villager which is dancing is waiting for the second boar. If I didn't misread the comment from T. Yep. Okay. I would say that it's fine, but not optimist. So Grey won't care about the forward gold and stone anyway, it's pocket. Nothing bad should happen until the Imperial Age, so that's okay. And red already found green just to already start the pressure. Green does have a stone which is not too much exposed, but gold is. At least it picked a forest in the back. So regarding what happened in the 1v1, I would say that the map is not turning too bad for Binary this time as flank. Oh, it goes for archers as Aztec pocket, or maybe archer range is just the building to go for castle. Actually, none of the Meleon has any army. And green is actually slower than its ally to research Castle Age for some reasons. Okay, we've got the first assault from red. And as expected, it will be pressed on the gold and maybe on the wood. Let's see. Okay, in the 1v1, Binary lost its villagers because it was trying to build something, but this time the behavior is better. It's just go to garrison into the TC. Oh, this is a pretty important moment. Of course, we've got one knight which is protecting the castle. Once the castle is gonna be built, I think that nothing bad can happen for Binary in the early game anymore. That's a pretty good point. Blue did build its castle too, so it's a good start for Binary. And this time Meleon stays pretty defensive. I think that this game definitely can go to the Imperial Age. But care, because Meleon is good in Imperial Age. We saw this in its game versus Ulysses. Meleon did manage to do pretty well in 2 versus 4 in late game. So imagine what it can do in 4 versus 4 if the flanks are not attacked by Binary in the Castle Age. It looks like purple just can't wait anymore. It's time to attack. Let's see if there is any coordination with yellow. If it does, that can be pretty interesting and pretty strong. Unfortunately, yellow is not reacting. Only few units. Okay. Well, it's not clear. It looks like yellow is just hesitating while purple is eventually coming to attack. At this point, Binary managed to boom better than its opponent, probably because it ran less units than Meleon. Okay, we've got something which looks to be a coordination between green and grey. And Teal is doing a good job actually on yellow, harassing its villagers. And of course, yellow does have the elite Eagles warriors. Teal is a bit slow. I think that this castle is doing a lot, helping so much Binary at this point, but it won't be enough. Binary really needs to train a strong army, full upgraded. We don't have elite samurais. We don't have champions. Well, blue is actually researching Imperial Age. Grey is pushing red. And we don't have elite Plumarches, we don't have elite Eagle Warriors. Okay, that's a pretty interesting push from blue and green. I'm scared that blue is gonna lose its 3 castles. I would say that Binary is actually doing fine. The kill ratio is, I would say, okay. And it's really surprising when you see the fact that the units are not full upgraded. Just imagine what Binary can do with Elite Eagle Warriors, Elite Jaguars, Elite Huskar, Elite Samurais, etc. Binary should win this game. Problem is actually there is, I don't know if there are escrows, but it's not researching anything for the ultimate upgrades of its army. That's a shame. Oh, we've got elite Plumarches eventually from the Mayan player. And Elite Eagles Warrior. Okay, that's a good point. Grey is full upgraded at this point. Okay, gray definitely needs to help green. It's turning a bit late now, but it's eventually acting. It's in fact definitely too late. Okay, that is a big push from gray. For some reason, red and orange decided to attack. Well, I think it's just TSA. Eldorado is actually missing for the Mayan player. It's funny to notice that Meleon is stuck at 165 population for some reasons. It's definitely not full population. Yes, in fact, both of the flanks are actually dead. It's 2 versus 4. In fact, Meleon is a beast in late games. Escrolls works perfectly. That way the wall units are full upgraded. It wasn't the case by binary side. It explains why it is actually losing. I will increase the speed. And Grey is trying hard. Back on red. Partly because Orange is actually focusing teal. But anyway, Orange does have exactly what it needs to counter the Eagles, so no matter. Okay, I would say that this fifth game of tonight was definitely the closest one. Binary did play well in this game. The only problem I noticed is the lack of upgrades in Imperial Age, and that probably made the difference. Binary definitely could have won this one. Now Binary needs to win the 4 last games. I mean, it needs to win the 2v2 versus Meleon, and it needs to win 3-0 against Solis's. That looks kind of difficult. One more option would be Binary to lose the 2v2 versus Meleon and to win 3-0 versus Solis's. That way we would have a tiebreak 2v2v2. But in fact, I agree, statistically it's absolutely impossible. But didn't you say before that with AIs everything is always possible? Okay, the game is definitely over. For some reasons, Binary doesn't resign. I actually don't know why. Maybe because it does have some buildings left. Anyway, let's go for the 2v2. Ghost plus Aztec. And the good point is the games between Binary and Alyssa's will be random versus team random. That way, no more Ghost Aztec, Mayan and Japanese. So with Binary versus Meleon, it's quite easy to bet what's gonna happen in the early and middle feudal age. We just need to check the position of the mining camp, find out of the gold, the stone, the wood. So we already can say that blue needs to get the stone on the back, and that way it should be fine. Green side, the stone is really exposed, the gold is in the back. Wood is, I would say, in the corner, but I'm scared that it's still a bit too much exposed. So blue should be safe, I would say. Green should be disturbed. Okay, I don't know how Binary is supposed to explore, but it did it in circle around the center of the map. And it eventually went directly to the position of the flank position. It did work because it did find its two opponents. How did green do? Okay, let's see what's going on with red. As I said before, green should be under pressure pretty soon in this game. It looks to be the case. Wood and stone are clearly exposed, and that way green is already suffering like it happened in the 1v1. Well, the strategy going meta terms looks to be the strategy which works pretty well versus Binary, which did much better versus Strongbows, which is a pretty aggressive axe too, but it goes for crossbows. Well, both of the TCs are in the front, that's a shame. Okay, red is actually offering a small delay to green, that way green can eventually build his 2 TCs in the front. I would say that red is really smart with its opponent. I would like to see green researching fletching. It's actually not the case. Fletching should help to the TCs to defend as well, like it does for the archers. I hope that this time the blue player is gonna research everything in Imperial Age. It did well as Mayan the game before, as Aztec it just failed. That I would say a pretty bad time for yellow to start attacking just while it is actually researching Imperial Age. It should have stayed home the time it's researching everything in Imperial Age before attacking, because actually it's just roasting its army, but it decided to go back, which is a good behavior. For some reason red stays passive after having almost killed green, but green is recovering really slowly. Too few farms at this point. I don't know why blue did research ballistic, because it just have infantry at this point. Well, let's say that those 3 castles are really precious for blue, which did defend pretty well versus red. I hope that his ram is actually targeting the trebuchet. It looks to be the case. Okay, so we've got Elite Eagle's Warrior for yellow. Blue is actually training trash units, skirmishers, spearmen. Well, blue can't handle this 1 versus 2. So guys, this game is almost over. We've got a 3-2-0 for Meleon. We notice that Meleon does have a strategy as Ghost which works pretty well versus Binary. Binary can do much better than what we saw in this set, and it's what we're gonna watch right now with Alyssa's. I'm pretty sure that Binary can show much more against an AI which won't go for that strategy, going feudal age, massing, men at arms, etc. Well, I think that Blue Army just disappeared when Binary decided to go for pikemen and skirmishers. Against champions, against eagles, etc. And green was dead for the second time of this game. GG, impressive Meleon.